channel. I hope you enjoy. Shh.
Hey everyone, hi Sam, welcome back to the channel. So, I have not put out a video in a while. Don't really have a good excuse other than being busy and hesitant to make another video. But I am back, and I am glad because I finally have a solid idea of what I want to do with my videos, at least a part of my videos. So, Sam knows, obviously, we are very good friends, but I am a kind of person that I want to say hyper-fixates on things. I don't want to say obsesses over things because it's a little bit extreme, but I definitely am known to have sporadic hyper-fixations. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that there could be a point of just no interest or just no expressed interest, at least, in a certain topic, show, video game, whatever, and then overnight I'll like get into or get an idea of something, and it'll just be my thing for the next month, month and a half, few months, and then I'll like talk about it to all my friends, and then they're like, "Where did this come from? Why are you talking about this now?" That kind of happened in college, specifically when Sam and I were living in close quarters. Um, I started getting really interested in honeybees, and it kind of took over what I wanted to do, and my interests in school and everything, and my independent research and all that. So that's what I mean by that. And one of my friends even said, like, where did this come from? Why bees? Why, why now? Why all that? And it wasn't like from a place of judgment. It was just like, that's how it works. So, because I am frequently having those hyperfixations and just these new interests, or at least revisited interests, I thought it'd be a good idea to post that on the channel because it gets you guys an idea of what I'm interested in and kind of the person that I am. And I mean, it's not really news for Sam because I'll talk to her about them anyway, but just kind of a more visual and communicative part of my hyperfixations. So we're going to start that today. And I think today I'm going to talk about 3 of them. I say 3.5 because the other one is smaller and it's kind of newer that I don't really know much about. But yeah, so the first one I wanted to talk about is something that I've been really interested in, or a character I've been really interested in the past that I kind of am revisiting, and it is the Invisible Woman, Marvel's Invisible Woman, also known as Sue Storm. I obviously love her because of her superpowers. I think I said in my first solo video that her powers are essentially the powers that I would want, just more focused around the idea of light manipulation, force field projection through like hard light or through some force, as with Sue Storm. I point that way because that's where I have like my little collection of like action figures and Funkos. But yeah, so I've been like rewatching the 2 movies, which 2 older movies I should say, which were not bad. I don't think they were poorly made. I more have a gripe with how they went about her character, and obviously it was the early 2000s, and hypersexualization of women was kind of the standard for most like popular movies. I also watched the newest one. I forget what it came out, like 2013, 14, 15, 16, something, because that's such a good range for me to give. And it was not awful. It wasn't great. It wasn't as, I don't think it was as good as the older movies, but it was so long and so, like, I guess convoluted because a good, at least half of the movie wasn't really like, I don't want to say it wasn't action packed because that's not, the most important thing in the movie, but it felt so slow. I guess the CGIs and the effects were cool, but I, I don't know. I guess it didn't have like that luster that I think a superhero movie should have. It was still a cool like modern take on it. The characters were younger than in the first 2 movies that came out. I believe they were just graduating high school-ish age, like around that time, so early adulthood, whereas in the first two movies that came out in the early 2000s, I believe the characters were at least mid-20s, if not mid-30s. I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, reeling it back in, I also ordered the Invisible Woman solo limited series for the comics. I'm getting that in, I believe, this Thursday because of Amazon's delayed shipping, but because I ordered it like 2 weeks ago. So I'm excited about that. I did read the first two individual issues and they were really good. In that series, she is much more mature. She's a fully grown adult. I believe it's past the era of her being married, her having kids, and past, the formation of the Fantastic Four, and she's a little bit more independent, which I'm always for. I'm kind of sad that it is limited because I think the writing was really good. Obviously, the designs were really cool, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So I'll get that in more detail in another video because I do have a video specifically planned for Sue Storm because I do have a few collectibles on my desk that I want to share with you guys, and Sam, of course. But yeah, I think her character is really cool. I was doing some research and reading up on her, not only just about her powers, which was what kind of drew me into her character, because they do work very interestingly. It's not just, they don't just say like, oh, she can project force fields and she can turn invisible and like leave it at that. They do obviously dwell into it. So for the invisibility, they do touch on the manipulation of how the light refracts around her or through her. And then the force field is actually completely separate from light manipulation. It's this cosmic invisible force that I think I'm getting this right, she can call or draw upon from outer space, because when the Fantastic Four gained their abilities, it was in outer space. They were exposed to the radiation, the cosmic radiation, and that's the source of their power. So it would make sense that the source of their power would kind of affect how they project their powers. I believe this is the only member of the Fantastic Four that they directly associate the cosmic radiation with the power. Like Johnny, her brother, Human Torch, lights on fire, obviously. From what I know, which may not be that much, it's not really touched on or why he burst into flames based on the cosmic radiation. Nonetheless, I love the Fantastic Four. Obviously, super into Sue Storm. I don't know why I used her full name. But yeah, so that's that. I think she's super intelligent and super well designed. And in the first two movies, with Jessica Alba, I was looking at kind of like the behind the scenes videos and all that, and they were talking about how they were animating her invisibility. They talked about whether they just wanted to do like just film her clothes and with her like in a green screen suit or behind a green screen and just have the clothes floating, or they wanted to also think about if they wanted to do like glass, so you can actually see through her but see some of the distortion of light. And they kind of went somewhere in the middle, I believe, to where sometimes you would be able to see like an outline or like a whitish opaqueness of her body, and that was really cool. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to share about that one. I'm rewatching the second movie tonight because I have nothing else to do and I really wanted to watch it again. The second thing that I've been really into lately is Sailor Moon, and I also already talked to Sam about this, and I found out that she had been watching Sailor Moon for a little bit, I believe last summer, if I'm correct, I think. Yeah, I don't know if it was like a nostalgia kick or something. I had tried to get into Sailor Moon when I was in high school, and I think I just didn't because I'm busy at school or just dropped it. I didn't have much like tenacity to stick to things when I was younger. So like books or shows, I would like just drop really easily and go to the next thing. But yeah, I think I'm on episode 18. I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely different in terms of how they tackle like social issues or just the different types of comedy in 90s anime. But the story and the characters themselves are super interesting because they do also tackle like feminist issues I believe it was in towards the end of the first arc where the three sailors that are met now are Sailor Moon, Sailor Mars, and Sailor Mercury. They have this dialogue with the villain they're saying like, how dare you undermine girls? It's such an old age way of thinking, and we can do amazing things. And I thought that was really cool. Besides, obviously the animes like magical girls, superpowers, I think is really cool. I think right now my favorite character overall, all things considered, is probably just going to be the main character, Usagi, or Sailor Moon. I think to a certain extent, her crying is a little bit annoying because it's slightly piercing. I was watching it yesterday and I kind of had a headache after work, and I had to close the Hulu because that's where I'm watching it, because her screeching is so loud and so high pitched. But I think her character is really fun. You definitely do see the growth in her maturity even within the first season, because I'm still very early on. I thought I would like Sailor Mars a lot more. Her character's name is Ray, because she's kind of like that hard exterior, like in a softer interior kind of character, I think. But I think in a recent episode that I watched, she just had super unlikable qualities. I think it was an episode where there was like a marriage contest, or like, oh yeah, you make a handmade wedding dress, and if whoever wins gets like an all expenses paid fancy wedding reception, which also some commentary on more of the sexualization of younger girls in anime, because these are 14-year-olds wanting to get married, and like that's their dream, and that's crazy now. But so Ray / Sailor Mars wanted to make a dress, but she didn't know how to sew, so she went to Usagi's / Sailor Moon's mom and was trying to like sweet talk her, and was like, oh, you're so talented at cooking, you're such a talented housewife, I bet you're also talented at sewing. And then she's like, oh, we should start by making a bridal dress. And that was, I just thought that was really underhanded of her, even though these are children, and like, kids act that way and they're teenagers. But overall, really enjoying it. When I get deeper into the show, I believe there's about 200 episodes. I'm probably going to make another one just because I'll have probably different opinions or different thoughts, but I'm really excited to finish it. I don't think I've ever finished completely an anime that has been like taken off the air. I think I watched a lot of Fairy Tail, but it's fun to kind of dive into Sailor Moon because it is very iconic. I think it was it had a lot of inspiration for other magical girl shows. I think it started the term magical girl, I think. I'm not too sure. But I am really looking forward to watching more and seeing how the characters develop and meeting new characters, because I've known about Sailor Moon for pretty much a lot of my childhood, but I never really understood it. I just knew like the references. So I know some of the future characters and some of the future sailors. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And the third one that I wanted to talk about was something that everyone is playing right now, is Animal Crossing on the Switch. Now, I have been wanting Sam to play it for a very long time, and I finally got her the game, and I'm so happy that she's able to play with me now, and we visit each other's islands and everything, and it's so good. I can't explain it any other way. It's so fun, and I don't know why I hadn't played it before, like on the DS, or whenever the previous games came out. But I legit have spent hours playing this game, and it's crazy. There's so many details. Like right now I'm doing the flower growing, and the different flowers, and I'm trying to collect different seeds and everything. And I thought that you just like put them together and then random ones would grow, but there's an actual system to each species of flower. And I saw online that someone commented like, really, Nintendo, you're gonna give the flowers dominant and recessive traits? And that blew my mind, because it's just such a good detail. I also really like the clothes designing. I'm really good at, I shouldn't say really good because it's filling in pixels on the game, but I really like making designs and making clothes that are based on other characters from different universes and whatnot. And I like to call it like cosplay for my characters, because I've made what have I made? Oh, I made a sweater with the design of my favorite Pokemon, Togekiss, which I also mentioned in my last video, I believe. I made one. Oh, it's a jacket for the Fantastic Four. Mm, there was some other stuff I forgot, but I definitely made a lot of them, and it's so fun to just sit there and like try to fit the designs in the pixels, because especially if it's like curved lines or circular lines, it's hard to get pixels to make a circle or any curved line. But usually it bends the lines to like get the shape that you want. So that's a really cool aspect. The villagers super cute. Obviously, I like that they're keeping characters from previous games, so it's characters that people know if they're longtime fans, and they're also introducing new characters like a lot of the NPCs. Let's see. I think especially now that everyone's in quarantine, at least where I am, it's a really good way to get together with friends. Like that sounds cheesy, but I believe almost all of my closest friends, if not like two of them, are on the game. And it's so cool that we're all getting into it and we can visit each other's islands and make things for each other and give things that only certain people have or are only available for a certain amount of time, or all that. And it's so cool. And I've actually, I think, talked to my friends on the phone or through some kind of voice chat more now than any other time. Obviously, I think it's because I'm not seeing them in person, but it's so cool, and I'm so excited to keep playing. And I hope Sam makes. Oh, actually, I think Sam and I haven't told her this. I think Sam and I should make an Animal Crossing thing. Maybe we can like stream where we visit each other's islands and just like interact. And I think that would be really cool. I don't know how to do any of that, so we're gonna see how that goes. But yeah, that's that. And the last thing that I wanted to bring up was, and I'm hesitant to call it a hyperfixation because I still am very new to it and don't know much about the character. But I believe it was 2 weeks ago where a close friend of mine sent me this Snapchat of a character in a game that he was playing. And he sent it to me because he knows like it just matched up what kind of things I like and the magic I like to give my characters based on myself. And I also believe this was in my last video where I talked about like light-based powers and all that, as I tend to talk about a lot. So it's League of Legends, and the character is Lux. Now, I was shocked when I first started playing with Lux and doing research into her character and her lore, because I was conceptualizing a universe for a story that I wanted to write, or at least think about, where it's a magical universe, and I believe I assigned like 7 elemental powers to the universe, and everyone would be born with a randomized one when they're born. It's the 4 normal ones, so water, fire, earth, air, and then I added darkness / shadows and light, and then the 7th one was like the special one that I think in my lore, like only one person every 1,000 years or so would be born with it, and I think I wanted to assign it like life or something like that, like nature, to work, because I think plants and like plant manipulation combining with earth is a little bit like, I don't know, I've always found it weird because plants are like living things, but I don't know, the manipulation of life I think could be a really cool aspect as an element, so I wanted to implement that. I digress. So my character that I wrote for my universe had the light-based powers, obviously, and I also assigned everyone a weapon, or I allowed them to make a weapon, and mine was like a short, I'd say what, like 3 feet long. I call it a baton because it's not like a staff necessarily. It's a stick with 2 ends. And Lux has essentially that, so that's completely fulfilled, while also having the light-based powers. Her name is Lux. Like, enough said. And she's just really cool. Her design is really cool. I like that she has more of an armored style, and her skins are awesome. My other favorite skin that she has right now is the Elementalist ones, which she has, I think, is it 8 or 9 for different elements, of course, obviously fitting my interest. And then there's a newer cosmic one. There's 2 cosmic ones with variations, but those are really cool because it's an event that's going on right now in League of Legends. But yeah, I'm really excited to play more. I'm, again, very new. I've played like twice, um, but it's not a game that I usually play, because I was telling my friend who did play League a lot, and she was just like, wait, that doesn't sound like a game that you'd like. And I was like, I know, but I'm really excited to play it. It's definitely, I think from what I hear, it is known for not having the greatest fan base, I guess, or at least gameplay fan base, because I've heard the words like toxic or I guess angry or upsetting things about the players and like what they type. But I'm gonna try to ignore that for now because I do want to have fun with the game. And yeah, so those are my hyperfixations as of now during quarantine, which I think we all know is very easy to get into things during quarantine because Lord knows we don't have much to do. But yeah, I'm really excited to be back on here and talking about things that I have a solid grasp on instead of just like rambling and talking like I'm doing now. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Bye, Sam. I hope you're doing swell, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.